I'm going to use the do whatever you legally can strategy with this proof. As mentioned before, it's not the most efficient of strategies, and we'll definitely see that relative inefficiency when in completing this proof. But it is a strategy that always works, and at least whenever you are stuck, it's a good way to just generate a few extra lines, get a few more ingredients, get a few different looks, and maybe from there you'll be able to see how the proof is going to best proceed. No matter what strategy you employ, always make sure that you take stock, take a look at what your main operators are, take a look at where components might match up a little bit. For example, our conclusion shows up as the consequent of the conditional at line 2, an indication that maybe modus ponens is a rule that we're going to want to use. Now, if we want to use modus ponens, though, we're going to have the antecedent, which is G and Q on a line by itself. We don't have that yet. But that's still an observation that you should be making, is where is my conclusion likely to be coming from? Look for other matching patterns. You know, we've got two conditionals, maybe hypothetical syllogism. Oh, it's not. Hypothetical syllogism requires that the consequent of one conditional be the antecedent of the second conditional, and we don't have that here. We have something close, right? G and Q and G and H are close, but they are not the same. And so here we're already seeing a little bit of the inefficiency is just, you know, it takes time to go through all the rule options and double check them. One thing to keep in mind is as you learn the rules better, your brain basically does this automatically, or at least very quickly. And so it does speed up. The better you know the rules, the faster you are at proof construction. In any case, you're kind of going through the options, and it turns out that at this point, at least, really the only legal option that we have is simplification. Now, incidentally, this is a tactic that does, you know, like all tactics, doesn't always work, but is often something that you should do. Whenever you do have conjunctions, think about simplifying them. At the very least, simplifying your conjunctions gives you more ingredients, more pieces to work with. And in the best of cases, like in this case, simplifying your conjunctions actually gives you ingredients for a subsequent move. Namely, Q is the matching antecedent for the conditional at line 3, which means that we have at lines 3 and 4 the matching pattern for modus ponens. So that means we can derive the consequent of line 3. It's worth taking stock again. Now we've got yet another new ingredient. It's a conjunction, so you might go ahead and simplify that conjunction. And now we've got a bunch more ingredients. This is one thing that happens with the do whatever you legally can strategies, that a lot of times you do derive more lines than you need. Some of you can already see this. We're not actually going to use line 5 or line 8 in building our conclusion and deriving our conclusion. But you know what? As long as they're legal uses of the rules, which they are, they're not hurting anything, and they can stay in the proof. None of this is our conclusion, though. So here, as we take stock, don't forget to try to look for how you're going to get that conclusion. Remember that we were thinking that we might be looking for G and Q to use along with line 2 and modus ponens to get our conclusion. And look, we've got G on line 7 and Q on line 4. How do we turn them into a conjunction? With the Conj rule. So that's going to be our next line. G and Q from lines 4 and 7 using Conj. And that means that we have the ingredients to derive our conclusion. Lines 2 and 9 and modus ponens. And so there you have it. Do we have 2 extra lines? Yes. Does it matter? No.